2 miles west of Amesbury on the Salisbury Plain sits an anomaly older than written word itself. It appears to be a ring of carefully placed stone with a smaller ring inside the outer ring, each stone standing around 13 feet or 4 meters high and 7 feet or 2.1 meters wide, with a weight of around 25 tons for each stone. Some of the vertical stones seem to be topped with a horizontal stone connecting to the two stones. But just what were they doing here? Who brought them here? And just what were they used for? Come with me as we dive into the alluring mystery of Stonehenge. The culture that constructed Stonehenge left behind no written records, but there have been many theories over the years as to who could have built such an impressive monument. According to DNA extracted from remains found at Stonehenge, the people, or the ancestors of the people, who built Stonehenge were early European farmers and came from the eastern Mediterranean area. One such people who have their roots in the Mediterranean area are called the Bell Beaker people. They actually inhabited most of Europe and arrived in Britain around 2500 BC. They were well known for their metalwork in copper and gold and advanced social society. So it is not far-fetched to say that the Bell Beaker civilization was advanced for the time, and that they could have built Stonehenge. But there is a problem with this theory, though. The Bell Beaker civilization arrived 500 to 600 years later than the earliest supposed date that Stonehenge began construction. In 1640, another theory was put forward by John Aubrey. He came to the conclusion that Stonehenge was the work of the Druids. This theory was further popularized by William Sturchley when he made this engraving in 1722. And at first glance it makes sense. The Druids were known as religious leaders. They made their home in the area where Stonehenge is, and the Druids left no written records. But same as the Bell Beaker theory, the Druids only came into existence sometime in the 4th century BC, well after Stonehenge was constructed. Stonehenge was constructed over the course of 1500 years in 4 distinct phases, with a myriad of minor phases in between. The majority of the construction of Stonehenge was done during the Neolithic period, and was at the time quite the engineering accomplishment. The leading theory is that to move such gargantuan stones, teams of upward of 100 men rolled logs underneath the stones, greased with animal fat, and as one log came to the end of the stone, that log was taken and rolled to the front. The people pulled the 82 stone slabs this way for 18 miles. The first phase of construction is said to have commenced around 3100 BC and consisted of holes in a circular ditch measuring 360 feet or 110 meters in diameter, dug with deer antlers as makeshift shovels. These holes are known as the Aubrey holes, named after John Aubrey, who has been credited with discovering them in 1666. These holes were excavated in 2013, and it was discovered that there were 56 holes, measuring 3.3 feet or 1 meter in diameter. Moreover, it was also discovered that there were more than 50,000 cremated remains found dating to this period. The second phase took place between 2900 and 2600 BC. During this phase, there was apparently a wooden structure that has all but deteriorated, and the only evidence that we have are small holes in the ground where the logs were placed. Around 2600 BC, the builders abandoned timber in favor of stone. Of the 80 original stones, only 43 of them remain at the site. These early stones are different from the more famous later ones. These stones were transported 150 miles or 240 kilometers from modern-day Pembrokeshire in Wales. They were also considerably smaller in size, only measuring 6.6 feet or 2 meters in height. During the next major phase of activity, around 2500 or 2400 BC, 30 enormous stones were brought to the site. They came from a quarry around 18 miles or 29 kilometers north of Stonehenge in West Woods, Wiltshire. The stones were erected as a 108-foot or 33-meter in diameter circle, with a ring of 30 horizontal stones resting on top. Each had clearly been worked with to have a final visual effect in mind. This ambitious phase alone is estimated to have taken 200 years to complete. This was also the last major construction phase. After this point, only minor rearrangements would take place. The purpose of Stonehenge is still greatly debated to this day. The site is aligned with the sunset of the winter solstice and the sunrise of the summer solstice. With this in mind, Gerald Hawkins proposed a theory in the 1960s that stated how Stonehenge was built to observe the sun and moon over a 56-year cycle. Two more recent theories have been put forth. One from Geoffrey Wainwright and Timothy Darvell states that Stonehenge was a place of healing. They say that this accounts for all of the remains found in and around the site. However, they do say that Stonehenge was most likely multifunctional and was also used for ancient worshiping. The other theory from Mike Pearson states that there was a city in the area around Durrington Walls, and that once a person died, the people in the city would make a journey along the river Avon from the town to Stonehenge as part of an ancient ritual passage from life to death and to celebrate past ancestors and the recently deceased. It is for that reason that Mike Pearson said Durrington Walls Henge was a place for the living, whilst Stonehenge was the domain of the dead. As I was researching this, I became inundated by just how many conspiracy theories there were regarding Stonehenge. From stories of Merlin befriending giants in order to construct Stonehenge, to Stonehenge being a place of healing. The theory that is probably most prevalent and well known is of course that aliens built Stonehenge, because we couldn't possibly figure these things out on our own. There is so much that we still don't know and will never know about Stonehenge. The mystery of Stonehenge is one that, the more you look into it, the more baffling and mysterious the story becomes. A lot of the answers that we are looking for may never be revealed.